It's that time of the year when teams can make proposals for the league's competition committee to talk about. And there was one that caught our eye earlier this morning. And it has to do with, well, here's the proposal. This was submitted by the Detroit Lions. The division winner with the conference's best record would receive the number one overall seed. But after that, teams would be stacked by records regardless of whether they won their division or received a wild card berth. So if you apply that to last year, the Lions went 15-2, the Vikings 14-3, Packers 11-6. The Lions got the number one seed, but the Vikings were the fifth seed. The Packers were the seventh seed. So based purely on records, the Vikings would be up to 3 with the new proposal. The Packers would be up to 5 here. I reached out to Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, and he said that he thinks it undermines the division championship. And if they're going to be seeding based on total record, they need to reformat the schedule so there'd be more games against other teams from the conference. And he says almost like the Big Ten, when there were actually 10 teams, everybody plays everybody else, and the team with the best record wins the Big Ten. Florio goes on to say there's no point in having divisions if the division winner only gets in the playoffs. He also says one point that they were making on Pro Football Talk earlier this morning, maybe have a minimum number of wins required for a divisional winner to have an automatic home game. That interests me. Let's say you have to have at least 10 wins to host a playoff game. I'm okay with that. You want to reseed after the first round. Like, I'm open to all of these conversations because I think you always have to be open. What can make the game better? Do we punish the Vikings? They had the second best record, but then we're going to make them the fifth seed in the NFC. And the Lions are proposing this because probably the NFC North is so stacked and the Bears are going to get better as well, and you might have this logjam again. But that's the proposal by the Lions, and then Florio's response is, how about we just make a minimum requirement to host a playoff game? And, you always think back to Seattle when Seattle was, 7-9, and then they hosted a playoff game against the Saints, and everybody was up in arms, but they won their division. Yeah, Paulie?
This is a tough one because reading through the rule, last year the Rams at 10-7 would now drop in the seedings. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 10-7 would drop in the seedings. And Florio's point about de-emphasizing winning your division really sticks out because at first I was like, of course you should reward the team with more wins. If it came to a vote, I'm not sure what the NFL would do on this one.
Well, they probably wouldn't change anything, but they like discussing. They like, almost giving you that, hey, full transparency, just letting you know some of the things that we're thinking about. And therefore, it feels like you're in it with the NFL instead of them coming out and saying, guess what? We've changed a rule here. You kind of want to have that discussion or opportunity to discuss, and then maybe they vote on it at some point. It's like, the brotherly shove. It just keeps coming up. It feels like it's not leaving. The Packers brought this up again, that they would like to get rid of the rule. Let me play for you Bill Cowher, the Hall of Fame coach who joined us, to talk about the brotherly shove.
Right.
I can tell by the grimacing of your face that you're not big on the brotherly shove here.
I'm not. It's not a football play. It's rugby. They call it a scrum. I mean, that's what it is, Dan. It's called the way it is. It's a scrum. I mean, you're pushing people and pushing them over. I mean, listen, if it's just a quarterback sneak, I get it. But it becomes like a push in the back and it's a scrum. And I don't know. It's not a strategical play, in my opinion.
I understand it, and that's from a coaching perspective. Stop it. I mean, that'd be my advice to all of these teams. You can run it yourself, but figure out a way to stop it. Although J.J. Watt joined us a couple of weeks ago, and he said you can't stop it. This is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year because I said, what would you say to the commissioner about that play? And he said, I would tell him you can't stop it. I understand it. But I think the Eagles would be just as successful with a quarterback sneak. You don't have to have somebody behind Jalen Hurts. In my opinion, on that team, that line, and the fact that Jalen Hurts is probably as strong as any quarterback in the NFL leg-wise. So you get that guy. I mean, he can squat, 600 pounds, something crazy. So you have that low to the ground, that offensive line, they're still going to be successful. And I would love to see that just so people would say, well, do we need to outlaw the quarterback sneak? It's the Eagles have mastered something. I'm fine with that. It's like you could have had the same defense that the Steelers played, the Steel Curtain. You could have had the same defense that the New York Giants with LT play. You can do all of those things. That's the beauty of football. The question is, do you have the personnel? Do you have the personnel to have a great offensive line to be able to have that initial push? And then you bring Jalen Hurts in behind, you're not going to stop that. I have a problem with the person who's pushing Jalen Hurts from behind. Green Bay is seeking to amend Rule 12, Section 1 of the rule book, which pertains to blocking and the use of hands and arms. The Packers' proposal to prohibit an offensive player from pushing a teammate who was lined up directly behind the snapper and receives the snap immediately at the snap. Yeah. Take that out. I don't have any problem with that. But while it's in, you got to deal with it with the Eagles, and they mastered it. Go back to the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs. Would they have to get a yard? If they get the yard, they probably are in the Super Bowl. Yes, Paul.
Do you think the Packers' proposal is too targeted at the Eagles? What I mean is, if they just proposed no more pushing any ball carrier anywhere on the field, back like it was before 2005, it would be as pointed at the Eagles' success.
Well, there are times when you'll see a running back and he is in a big pile. The pile is moving, and then offensive linemen come from behind and then start to push him. And you might get 5 more yards out of that. I don't know how technical, how detailed that the NFL wants to get with this, but I would take it out. They don't have injury data that backs this up to take it out of the game. If they did, then it would be easy. They'd just say, hey, it's not a safe play. And when I saw Chris Jones lining up trying to stop the Eagles, and he's lined up to the side, and then he hurts his neck. Well, it doesn't take a genius to realize why he got hurt. They just basically used his neck as a turnstile here, and he got hurt. But it's not one of those where they go, look at all the data. Man, there are a lot of guys getting hurt here. I think their feelings are getting hurt. I don't know if that shows up on the injury list.